All right, welcome to 5 Live Free Code School, whether you're watching this live or in the future. I'm Eric Gross, I'm your instructor. I'm here with Alexandra, one of our students. It is apparently the time of vacations, and we're down a couple this week, and we have some people who arrive shortly. We're gonna get started without them, but just for you to know, if you're watching this live, I'll also be taking vacation next week, so we'll have a week skipped. But we are nearing the end of a particularly interesting journey in JavaScript right now, where we've been building an application and implementing CRUD, create, read, update, delete. And we've managed to work out how to do the create part, the read part, the delete part, and that critical update piece is what we're going to look at tonight. And then I've got some interesting homework that we'll look at after that, just so you can reinforce everything we learned over the last, what is it, Alexander, like 6 or 7 sessions on this JavaScript application? Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and catch myself and everybody else up to where we're at. So here is our application. And again, overall structure, the entrance point for the application is app.js. This is where the application starts. When we run it using npm start or a node command, this is the code that gets executed. And in terms of broad overall strokes, I'm going to take out this fake product here. What we're doing is bringing in all the third-party libraries that we will need for our application. And then using a third-party library called prompt, we are operating everything from the command line. So we'll throw up the options, pick from the following operations. And then depending upon what we get as an operation, we operate everything else from the command line as well. We can either get all of the products, get a single product, given an ID. Here's the get ID. It's a further prompt. If we go to delete, D for delete, we'll do a further prompt that gets the ID of the product we want to delete and runs a function called remove product by ID. All this stuff is working. And then for create, I haven't finished mine, which is what we're working on last week. I'll look at an implementation one of the students has, but we got this working last week, where we prompt for all of these parameters and we use them to run create product, which does work, and we can create product. Now, where does all this stuff get stored? Let's look at the other end of the application, the data storage. In our data folder here, we have a db.txt file. This is our complex database. It's a text file. Here's Jonas. Give it a minute for him to arrive. Hi, Jonas.
Hi.
Man, I can't believe you're awake. I was telling Alexandra, it was only a few hours ago you got done with the homework and sent me a message that you're going to sleep for 3 hours and then get up for class.
Yes,
so
I'm half awake.
Thank you for being here. All we're doing right now is I'm just doing a little bit of an overview of the application, as we've done for most of these little JavaScript sessions on this particular application. And I'm getting into the way we're storing data in this db.txt file. And I want to stress to anybody watching, as I've stressed over and over again, this is not the normal way you would store persistent data for your application. We're doing it this way so that we can work on an application that implements CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete, while still just living in the JavaScript world and not even worrying yet about databases and how all that stuff works. We're going to cover that. In fact, it'll be one of the very next subjects we cover. But I want just to build the JavaScript core skills. So we have a text file, and we have a way to get that text information, and this is the critical part, turned into objects in our running computer program. And that's this import db.js file. It has a function in it called read database. It will read a text file. It will strip it into separate pieces. Every single individual line is its own piece in an array. And then if that text in each line is written as properly formatted JSON, it'll turn into an object, and we will create an array of these objects. We'll come back to this before we finish tonight. There's a critical application development concept tied up in what I just showed you that I want to cover and reinforce. But anyway, we have a way of getting this information out of the text file where it does no good for us when we're running a computer program, and into the actual running computer program as an array, a collection of objects, in this case, products, toasters, sofas, etc., including the fantastic purple widget, which all the kids want. So we have the front end app.js, and from it, we call all these functions. We have the back end with our persistent data storage and our ability to grab that data storage and turn it into objects. What's left is the middle, this operations section. And this is where we've implemented create, read, and delete functions. The read one, for example, will use that import DB and that read database function in it to get that array of products that we're talking about. And, oh, I don't know, read all of them or read an individual one by ID. And at this point, you're starting to see, if this is the first time you've seen this application, and if it isn't, I just want to reinforce this, there is a structure to the files and folders that we put a lot of thought into. And it separates out the different types of operations and code, functionality that we want to build in this application, each into their own area. Everything related to data and pulling the data into the application is in this data folder. Everything related to the actual, what is the application there to do, which is create, read, update, and delete. We put that in our operations folder. A lot of people might put in a folder called app or source, SRC. Doesn't matter what you're calling it, we've separated it out into its own area, its own folder. And finally, there's always an entrance point, a very first bit of code that gets executed as soon as you start up the application. So that's where we're at right now. And what we're going to implement, the homework was to make it so we can actually edit properly an object, in this case, a product. So I know, Jonas, you said you got yours done. Alexandra, did you figure out a way to make it work?
I didn't get the edit done, no.
Totally fine. Jonas, what we're going to do is we're going to have you share yours. And I just want to look at it briefly, and then we'll come back and you're going to help Alexandra and I build it again. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes.
Excellent. Let me stop sharing. You go ahead and share your screen. First thing I'd like you to do is just show me your app.js. And I want to look at how you are getting the information for edit. Can you show us that? Okay, good. I like on line 40, you have an option available to the user, view, update product. Scroll down to the case statement for you. Okay, good. So, all right, when we get the ID for the one we want to edit, we're going to run a function called update product by ID. Go ahead and go to that function, update product by ID, and let me see that bad boy.
Okay, it's found in the update.js file.
Well, one thing, here's, yeah, absolutely. Do me a favor, go back to app.js. Another thing you can do, look on line 79 where it says update product by ID, that function. Right click on it. Right click and say go to definition. It's the second option down. And that takes you to right where you made it. Okay, good. All right, so what you've done, it looks like, I see on line 3 that we are pulling in that prompt library that we're using in the app.js. And so you're going to do all the prompts from here, correct?
I tried from the app.js, but it wasn't working for me.
Totally fine. Excellent.
So I
all
tried
right.
it.
And let me look here. So then on line 5, you're pulling in all of the actual existing products with the read database function on line 5. And line 8 is where we actually call it. So line 8 is products, our collection of products, correctly or correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now you have a function called update product by ID. And the comment on line 14 needs to be changed. It says deleting the product. I'm assuming you copied that over from the other loop.
By the way, this might not be so professional the way I solved the problem.
Oh, that's fine. I don't care.
I tried multiple times to solve in.
Yep, that's fine. We'll figure out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
How I approached the problem is, first I deleted the product using the ID.
Oh, I see. Okay, good. Okay.
Then I created it later on.
Oh,
That's how I updated it. It's amateurish.
hey, that's not a bad idea. I have no problem with that, Jonas. None at all. None at all. It worked, didn't it?
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I have no problem with that approach at all. In fact, I don't know that I would have wanted to do it by rewriting just that one single line. I kind of like this idea. That's not a bad approach at all, Jonas. Okay, so that's why line 14 is the correct comment, because first you're deleting it, and then we go down, and then line 31, you're like, okay, give me the data for the new product. So you're asking for price, SKU, name, quantity, description. Okay, good. Keep going down.
Then the user inputs.
Yep, to make a product object.
Yeah, the replacement.
And then
it's appended.
We grab the ID. Now, right there on ID,
Here
on line 43, it says line 43, product ID equals ID. Yes. Where do we get that ID at the end of that line? How do we find out what the new ID is?
Okay. What I did was the product that replaces the first one is would have the same ID.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So show me that up above. Where do we grab that?
For
like
instance, this ID.
Yeah. Yeah. That on line 43,
yes.
After the equals sign,
that
ID there on line 43. That's a variable. Where do we make that variable? Oh, we're just going to use what they passed in.
Yeah, the parameter.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, good. Keep going down. Jonas, this is good.
So for instance, if we update the ID, if we update the product, we only change the values of the other properties like price, skin, and the rest.
Yeah.
The ID remains the same.
Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Excellent. All right, let's run this. Let's watch it work. Show it to us.
Okay.
All right. Give us a U for update. Actually, go back. Give me an I for, I want to see the details on a specific product first. So let's look at product number 2. All right, so this is our sofa for $1,000. There's the SKU of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. We have 5 of them. And it is a velvet sofa, 8 feet. Okay, all right, run it again, but now show me how you would update product 2.
Here is the problem, but we are going to fix it together. Prompt price.
Give me
for
that again.
instance,
What?
It says prompt price undefined. I tried to explore solutions for it. Why is bringing this undefined?
Okay.
Huh?
Okay, good. We'll figure it out.
Okay. For instance, I'm going to enter the input for price. For instance, SKU.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, so now run it again. And I want to see product number 2 to see that it actually changed.
Okay, we can. Change.
Good. Okay, excellent. So there's some weirdness when we're trying to get the price thing, but your code works.
It's
Now-
even changed in the db.txt.
Of course it did. There it is on line 5. Okay, good. So do me a favor, go back to your update.js. Update.js. Yeah. Alexandra, do you have any questions or comments about how Jonas solved this?
Just to make sure I follow. So what we're doing is we pick the ID, like pick the product by the ID, and then that product gets removed, and then we're rewriting it
Yes.
like by creating the new product. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, using the same ID.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think it looks really cool.
Yeah. Okay, good. So let's figure out why it is on the prompt of price, it's all wackadoodle. Like, did you see what happened with the undefined thing, Alexandra?
Yeah.
Okay, so something told somewhere in the computer program, it was instructed to log something to the console. Do me a favor and go up to the prompt part here of your code in update.js. Show me where you're asking the user for that information. Oh, there it's line 32, isn't it?
In the app.
No. In update.js. So it's line 32 that we're asking for the information, right?
Yes.
So run the program again. I want to see exactly when it prints that weird undefined to the screen. Okay, stop right there. So it printed from line 31, enter the new product. On the first prompt, for whatever reason, it decided to prompt for price and then also display on the screen undefined. Do me a favor, let's look at the create product prompt, which is in app.js. The prompts are in app.js for create. Scroll up a little bit. There, well, there's create, beginning on line 59. I mean, that's the code you copied, right?
Yes.
All right, give me a Control C to stop your application. And then run it again. And I want to do the create. Let me see if when you're trying to create one, if it does that weirdness. It didn't. So it does the prompt just fine. Here's my thought. I think that this is some weirdness that has to do with this prompt third-party library that we're using. And I think what happens is if you scroll down a little bit here to the case for update. It's line 80. Put a breakpoint on line 80. Good. Now stop the application and run it again, but run it in debug. Good. Did you click on that? You clicked on it, right?
Yeah, I clicked on it.
I can't hear you.
Yes, I clicked on it.
Okay, good.
Scan.
How many times did you click on it?
Many times since I
Good. So delete all of those. It just takes a little while to get everything set up. Okay, good. So now do an npm start or node, whatever you want to do. That's fine. I don't care. I want another breakpoint on line 79. Okay, so now let's do update. That's right, type of you, yeah, good. And give us a prompt. Whatever you're gonna, whatever ID you want. I don't care. Okay, now we're about to dive into update product by ID. We're going to use the work done by update product by ID to assign a value on line 79 to the variable called product. Right now, roll over product with your cursor. Product is undefined, correct? Yes. And it is going to remain undefined until we're done running update product by ID. Does all that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah, that's the reason.
Good. Now, I want you go very slow here because I want you to click on the exact right thing. Up in the debug menu where it has the arrows, go very slow. I want you to click on that one. Yes, step into. Okay. Now, go down, scroll down a little bit. Scroll down, keep going all the way down. Okay, stop. Put a breakpoint on line 31. Good. So now I just don't want to go through the whole deleting thing one step at a time. So now hit continue with the debug menu. Yep. Good. So now this is where we started to have the weird problem, right?
Yes,
Okay. Hit F10, the step over control in the debug bar. That's the, nope, left. Yeah, F10, hit that once. Good, don't touch anything. Now hit it again. look where we are. We're back in app.js, am I right? No, we're in update.js, but we popped out to the bottom for a second. Hit F10 again. Now we're in app.js. And what's it about to do on line 80? Don't click, just tell me what line 80 is going to do.
It's going to print undefined.
Yeah.
Because we are coming here with, before we keep the
Jonas, stop for a second. Whatever microphone you have is really bad.
Yeah, it's bad. I use this phone.
Oh, the phone microphone?
Yeah. Phone
Okay.
That's bad.
Okay.
Sorry.
You might need to hold it near your mouth or something because we can't hear you.
How about now?
Much better. Okay, so tell us again what line 80 is going to do.
I think it's going to print undefined.
Okay, and why is product undefined?
Since we came here before we get intro.
I can't hear you.
Before we give the new input.
Before we give any what?
The new input.
Good, okay. So you're right. Something weird happened here, and it wasn't really our fault. It's our lack of understanding of how this third-party library called prompt works. If you look at line 79, we called the update product by ID function, but we're not done with it yet. Go back to update.js and scroll up. We're right on line 32. That's where we were supposed to be, right? In fact, look down in the console. What do you see at the bottom of the console? It's a prompt for price, right? Do you see it? Jonas?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. So here's what happened. Look at line 32. Everything in this function that you built is working great. So far, if you scroll up to the top of the function, go to the top of the function, beginning on line 10, we've initialized some values, we've pulled in all of the products, and then beginning on line 14, we delete the product that we're going to edit. So scroll down. All this is working. Line 31 is working. Now, what's interesting about these, though, is that so far, we have not attempted to prompt the user for any information. And our problem comes in at the very beginning of line 32, where we try to prompt the user for, among other things, price, SKU, etc. When we got to that line, we went through the very first prompt. It said prompt.get, and in parentheses, there's an array. And in that array, the first element is the word price. And we got that far, and you can see it down below in the terminal. No, not down there, down in the terminal. You can see where it says prompt price, right?
Yes.
Good. Now, apparently, this prompt library doesn't like to have two sessions, if you will, of getting data from the command line active at once. So it said on line 32, okay, all right, fine. You want me to prompt for some information. Well, I'll print the prompt, but before I'm actually gonna listen and read what the person enters in, I've got to go back and finish out the one I was doing already. So the prompt library takes over. Go back to app.js. And it steps right into line 80 and says, all right, I've got to finish out this prompt.get that begins on line 77. I have to finish that. Well, it wants me to log this thing called a product. All right, it's undefined. I'll do it. So hit F10 in the debug control bar. No, not continue. F10. And look, down at the bottom in the terminal, it printed undefined. That's where that came from. And now on line 81, it's about to stop the first prompt that we began back on line 77. The prompt that asked for the ID is about to be over, and only then will this prompt library be willing to continue working on the other prompt that we wanted from your update.js file. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Good. So hit F10. All right, now we are inside of the actual prompt.js code. I don't want to look at all this stuff. Hit F10 once and see what happens. All right. Yeah, now we're in a whole nother library called once.js. I don't give a crap about any of this stuff. So this tells us that my reasoning is right. The reason for this weird behavior is down inside of the prompt library. But I don't want to step through all of this. So why don't we go back to your code in update.js and put a breakpoint on line 34 and hit continue. So wherever we are in those other libraries, it'll run through what it's supposed to do and get back to here. Okay, so now we're back in the console. We are down below. We are actually prompting for the price, and we are reading the information. So you can enter a price now. Go ahead and enter a price. Hit enter. Good. And now all the prompts. We don't need to finish it out. Don't care about it. That's why you were having that weird behavior. It had nothing to do. You didn't do anything wrong. Does it make sense now, though?
Yes, it does. It's
Good.
because we are dealing with two prompts.
Yep. 2 active prompt sessions. It had
That's
to finish
right.
out the earlier one before it could actually read something from the command line in the second one. Okay, good. Good. Hit Control C and just stop this thing. All right, so here's what we're going to do. All right, so Alexandra and Jonas, what usability issues or user experience issues do you see in the way this update works right now? How friendly is this to the user?
It's not friendly at all
Tell me why, Jonas.
because the prompts here, prompts price undefined. I myself got confused.
Good. That one is minor compared to the thing I'm looking at. Let me ask you this. If you're going to update product with an ID of 2, are you doing so because you want to fully rewrite the name, the description, the SKU, the price, and the quantity? In other words, do you want a brand new product just with an ID that you've already used? What's the use case? What is the user trying to do if we're giving them this update option?
This particularly is a replacement, not an update. An update is
Yeah, I don't care about that.
time.
I don't care about the code. I don't care about the code at all, Jonas. If we're going to expose to the user a feature that allows them to update a product, what are some of the things they might want to update?
For instance, some of the properties like name, quantity, or price.
Good. Now I want to remind you of what happened the first time you demonstrated this for us this evening or this morning for you. Your code works great, by the way. So this discussion we're having has nothing to do with your homework on this, with how you've implemented this. You've done a great job. What I'd like you to think about is this. You went in, and I think the ID that you used first was the number 2. Am I correct? And then when it gave you the prompts, and they're the prompts we see on the screen right here, price, SKU, name, quantity, description, what you entered in was something like $2 for a price, 2222 for a SKU, the word 2 for a name, 2 for a quantity, and 2 items for description. Remember that?
Yes.
Good. Now, is that what you'd be doing in the real world?
No, I chose that for the sake of simplicity. Just to type
Totally. Yeah.
fast.
And again, there's nothing wrong with what you did. I would have tested it that way. The thing I'd like you to see right now is we have a real problem right now in terms of our user and how friendly this application is. We want them to be able to just change only the things they want and to have an understanding of what the existing data is. So for example, go ahead and run your application. And do I for individual, find product by ID. And I want to see number 5. Okay, so let's say you're a customer service representative and you just used our application and you did this, you looked it up, you went, oh, so item number 5, $3,500. There's the SKU. It's a sculpture. We have 2 of them. It's a sculpture of Atlas and it's 36 inches tall and it's made out of bronze. Now, what if you found out that that sculpture was made out of stainless steel?
And I would have to specifically change the value of description.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I wouldn't touch the
Go ahead.
others.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't touch the others.
Right. So this is just a conversation. Like, I know we're dealing with the command line and nobody's going to run an application like this from the command line. But those are the constraints we have that we have to solve right now. So let's just think about this. What would be a bit more friendly to the user in terms of a user experience? Alexander, do you have an idea?
Maybe if it asks what you want to update, like if it's like you want to update the price or the name or whatever.
Good, you could do that. What if you wanted to change 2 things though? Then you have to have 2 different runs through, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Jonas, do you have any ideas?
Yes. For instance, I would write. Do you want to update the price? Do you want to update the SKU? Do you want to update the name?
Good. So you collect a lot of yes or no's, right?
Yes.
Good. Let me show you another alternative. I'm going to take over for a second and then we'll send it back. I'm going to go into a whole new folder and I'm just going to demonstrate something here as a possible user experience. So let's do open folder, and we're gonna make a new one. I don't want this in repos. I don't really even care about this. Let's go to documents and do I have anything temporary? All right, I'm gonna make a folder here called UX for user experience, because I want to show a user experience concept. So here I am, and I'm in user experience. I have no files. Now this is going back a little bit, but when we wanted to be able to use Node, in other words, we wanted to be able to write some JavaScript programs that are going to operate down on our computer instead of inside a web browser. We had to at least initialize the project by creating a file called package.json. And we did so by opening up a terminal. And executing a command called npm init. Now, this is the part I want you to watch. In fact, I'm going to expand this a lot. npm init, and I haven't hit enter yet, is going to ask me for input on a bunch of possible settings inside a file it's about to create called package.json. But I want you to see something. I'm going to hit enter. Why are you not being friendly? What did I do wrong? Okay. This utility will walk you through creating a package.json file. It only covers the most common items. And here we go. And tries to guess sensible defaults. Notice at the bottom, it's asking me for a package name. What is that thing in parentheses? Where it says UX. What is that?
Suggestion.
Sorry, go ahead, Jonas. What?
Suggestion.
Sorry, the
Suggestion.
microphone is so bad. I hear addition or something.
Suggestion.
A suggestion. Yes. Now, if I am fine with that, then I just hit enter. Same thing here on version. If I'm fine with it for 1.0.0, I just hit enter. So let's think about that behavior with our own application. What if the prompt showed what the current value is already, and if we didn't change it, it kept what was currently there? So we would pop up the name, the SKU, the price, and for each one, it would show what the current data already is. And if we don't want to change anything, we just hit enter for the next prompt. If we do want to change something, then we change it to what we want it to be changed to. And that way, for each individual item, price, SKU, name, description, quantity, our user has an opportunity to right there to make an educated decision about changing it or not changing it. What do you think about that approach?
User friendly.
Say again, Jonas?
User friendly.
Yeah, it's a bit more user friendly. Now, again, I want to stress, we're not going to build applications that run from the command line. But you're going to find yourself sometimes with very weird restrictions and constraints, and you're still going to have to figure out a way to solve the problem. So let's just pretend that we have to build it this way. And this is a solution for making it a bit more user friendly. I like it. I like it a lot. So I want to do two things. One, I want to get both myself and Alexandra caught up to where Jonas is. Okay. And then two, I want us to figure out whether we can do this in a different way. I don't particularly want to type out a bunch of code because Alexandra, you understand how he did what he did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you do us a favor, Jonas, and send the contents of your, let me stop sharing. It's, I think, update.js. Can you send that to us using Discord?
That will be from my file explorer, right?
I can't hear you.
Am I going to send it from file explorer from the folder on my?
I would just copy the contents and then paste them into Discord and we'll grab them. Copy the contents of update.js. And then we'll grab it and put it in our own update.js. Oh, wait, Alexandra.
Mhm.
He sent, can you just send her the link to your GitHub repo, Jonas? You sent that to me, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, that will be the. It's in inbox.
Say it again.
It's in yeah, inbox.
Okay. Are you finding it, Alexandra?
No.
I just put it into the main
okay.
channel. There we go. So go down to operations, update.js, and let's make our applications look the same. Okay. And I'm gonna drive for a little bit as we go back to this. All right, so inside operations, you had an update.js file. Grab the contents of it. Put it in here, and then you modified your app.js. All right, and I'm going to get your create and delete. I'm going to grab all that. All right, I think I've got what you got. Okay. Alexandra, are you caught up?
Yeah, I am.
All right, let's both run npm start and see if we can actually get the same behavior he saw. So first, oh, I didn't put in the new prompt. It was a U update product by ID, right? All right, now let me run it. All right, so I'm going to update ID1, my SOFI, I believe. All right, I broke something, so something I am doing. Let's see, key press events. Oh, update product by ID is not defined. I didn't pull that into app.js. All right, that's up here. I have to import that. All right, good. Now let's start this again. That's because I apparently can't type, and update dot comma JS is not valid. Do you know you can't put a comma in a file name? Isn't that the weirdest thing? All right, let's try it again. Prompt ID number 1. All right, so price, and again, I'll have it in front of me. So I'm gonna make $100 SKU 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The name of it is sofa. Number 2, quantity, I have 100 of them. Description, red sofa, velvet. Okay. See if it worked. Run the application again. Do a list all products. And there I have. Oh, interesting. Look at the ID. What's wrong with the ID of our new product?
It's a string.
Exactly. So when we save it in update, product.id, we have to cast it to a number. So let's try that. Number. Like that. Do you see that, Alexandra?
Yeah.
You see that, Jonas?
Yes.
Let's see if that will change it. Well, wait a minute. If I do all, why did they give an ID of 1? That's weird. It shouldn't have been 1. It should have been, oh no, I did do 1. I did do 1. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so can I find it by ID now that it's a string? I don't know that I can. I'm going to find an individual one, I, and hit prompt ID of 1. It does work. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay. And now what happens if I edit it? I mean, update and ID of 1. All right. So what's my price? I said it was $100. SKU is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Name is sofa 2. Quantity, I said I have 100 of them. Description, red sofa, velvet. All right, now let's run it and see what they look like now. Give me an A, list all products. Look, it made the ID a number. That worked correctly. Are you guys seeing the same thing?
Yeah.
Jonas, are you caught up?
Yes.
Okay, good. Excellent. All right, so let's look at this thing we wanted to do where we want to show the existing content first. Now, here's the thing I don't know how to do. On the prompt, I don't know how to have it do additional information. You see how we're prompting for price right here on line 32. How do we make it show the existing one? Here's what we could do is we could have the previous, like this console.log, we can log the data as it is before the edit. Right? And so it would be right above. So you'd have to look up a little bit and see the price to see whether or not you wanted to change it. Here's the first change I'd like to make. And we see what this looks like because it's an easy change. I would like to not delete the existing one until we've asked for the new information. So what I would like to do is log the existing, like show what it currently is, and ask for the new edits. And once we've received them, then do the deletion like Jonas designed and the new insertion. Let's see what that looks like. What do you guys think? Jonas, what do you think of that?
Let's see.
So up here, this is our deletion. Let's take this whole thing. Let's see, where does this bracket go? Yeah, to right here. So take the whole deleting the product, pull it out there, and we're not gonna, we're first, we're gonna do it right here before we get into make, so we'll do remove the current entry in db.text. And here, add the edited entry to db.text. What did you say? So paste it right in there. I have to remove the current entry. So the other thing I really want to do is, before we ask them for the new product information, I want to log the existing product information. So it can look like this: console.log. What is that doing? Details for product ID, and then let's print ID. And then a colon. Like that. So details for product 2 or details for product 5, whatever. And now we want a bunch of console.logs. I don't want to retype them. Well, let's, you know, we should. Let's do console.log. And then what's the first thing? Price. And how do we get the current price? We need the current product. We need to read the current product, don't we?
Yeah.
Now watch this. I almost swore. Haven't we already built a function somewhere in our program that can get all the details for a specific product?
Yeah.
Where is it?
The read.js.
Well, why don't we grab it? Up here in our imports, do an import. get product by ID. Oh, it imports, it does the rest of it for me. That's nice. We want that function. I don't want to rewrite the function. We put all that work in. That would be stupid. Let's use that function. So here's the logic. Our update product by ID function gets called. The first thing we do is we say, make a var, or we let current product equal, and then we call this get product by ID. And we pass in the ID. And now we have that object and we can use it. We can go right here and do current product dot price. I'll let you guys get caught up. I want to see if this is working so far. Let me see how this works. Something's broken here. All right. So let's see if this is gonna start printing details on the price here. When I call update product by ID, it should get the details for that product from the database, our text file, and start printing the details as they exist. Only after that should it ask you for the new product. Let's try it. Let's do an npm start. Let's do an update. And we'll pick product number 2, say. It didn't do it. It's asking me for the price. It didn't do the console.logs.
Isn't it showing the details for product
Oh,
ID?
it's up there. Oh,
Yeah.
it went so fast I didn't see it. Thank you.
Yeah, took me a second too.
Yeah, and by it didn't work, I mean it worked. Okay, good, excellent. So that's working. Hit Control C and let's just stop. And now that we have the right pattern, let's keep on doing that for the other properties. So price and then SKU. And then where we got name. Description. A quantity goes before description. All right. So now when we are about to make our prompts, we can at least see what it says above. Let's see what this looks like as a user experience. Are you guys all done making those console.logs?
Yeah.
Jonas, what's that?
I'm typing them. I'm catching up.
You're caught up?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent. Okay. One thing you might try, Jonas, is changing the input in Zoom to use the microphone on your computer. If you need any help figuring that out, let me know.
Shall I share my screen?
No, because I won't be able to see the controls. They are Zoom controls.
Okay.
So what you'll do is you'll go to the Zoom control, you know, where you mute yourself, you know, that one.
How about now?
You know, talk again.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's actually better. It's echoey. Yeah, but that's fine. We can hear you better.
Select the speaker.
You should be able to still make the speaker be those headphones.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you, dude. Okay. All right, so let's see what this user experience looks like. Let's go and run our program, at least part of the way through. So if we say, pick from the following operations, and I go U for updated product by ID, and I say, well, what product? I want number 2. It says, all right. Details for product ID 2. Why is this going? Okay, here we go. Details for product ID 2. Price 1,000, SKU, sofa, quantity. My description is messed up because I need a colon. Velvet sofa 8 feet. And then it's asking me to enter the new product. This is working. I think that's a bit more friendly so far. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me fix my typo there on description. All right, now, here's the one where it gets weird. We want to be able to differentiate and only use new content when someone has typed in new content. If they enter a new price, then we use it. If not, then we keep what it was. So essentially, if you look, say, at line 30, we're going to have a little bit of if then logic. If a new price was entered from the prompt, then use it. Else, use what we already have on the current product. Make sense? So we need to be able to differentiate. And part of what we need to know is if I don't enter in data from the command line for one of these prompts, what does that property look like? Because I need to be able to be very precise. So what I want to do is put a breakpoint. It's gonna be really difficult. You can't put a breakpoint. Maybe I can right inside here. Let's look this. Let's try this. Let's say I don't enter a price. Let's run it. So I'm going to stop it. I need to run it in debug. Everybody watch what I'm doing because I want to explain a few things here as we work through this. I'm going to do run in debug, go to JavaScript debug terminal. All right. And now if I do an npm start, it should run it in debug. All right, so it's running. Let me do U for update by ID. And I'm going to do number 2. All right, so it says details for product ID 2, price, SKU, name. It's asking me for a price. I'm going to hit enter. Now it's asking for a SKU. I'm going to keep everything else the same. No. I don't want to change the SKU. I want to change sofa to be capitalized. I don't want to change quantity. I don't want to change description. Okay, so here's my breakpoint. Now, if I look at this result object, that should hold everything I typed in. And look what we have. They're all, look at the properties up to the top right there. Description, name, price, quantity, SKU. They're all strings. And where I didn't enter anything in, I just hit the enter key, it's an empty string. So now I know what to look for. If I have an empty string, that means the person didn't want it changed, and I should use whatever the current value is. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jonas, you got, okay, good. So now we're going to look at a really fun little bit of, I'm going to stop this from running, okay? And I'm going to close this debugger. I'll come back to that later if I need to. A little fun bit of syntax you can use for if then, all on one line. You guys may have seen this before. It's called a ternary operator or ternary. I've never gotten an agreement on whether it's pronounced ternary or ternary, but it's basically an if, then, else statement all on one line. Let's see if I can find it. Does W3 Schools have something? They probably would have the best definition for it. A simplified conditional, and it's like if else. Here's your syntax. First, you check a condition, which will evaluate to true or false. Then you have a question mark. Then you put down what to do if you're true, and then a colon, and what to do if you're false. So here's an example. Before you'd have if authentic, look at how many lines this takes up, like 6 lines. If authenticated, render app, else render login. Here's the same thing. It just says authenticated, which is a Boolean value. If it's true, then we do a render app. If it's false, then we do a render login. You see that syntax? That's the situation we have. We're going to check is the property an empty string? If it is an empty string, then use what we have from the current product. If not an empty string, use whatever it actually is that we got at the prompt. So, is it an empty string? Yes. Use current data. No. Use the actual prompt data. Does that logic make sense? All right. Let's try to build that into what we have here. So we're trying to set a value for price. Let's erase all of this and go, well, and we need to, how do we check whether something is empty? We go result, no, result dot price equals an empty string. If that's true, then use current product dot price. And if it isn't, then use result dot price. Let's look at that logic here. It says the condition, which evaluates to true or false. We have a condition. This evaluates to true or false. Is what we got from the prompt an empty string? Then if it is true, We don't want to use the empty string. We want the price that we already have. If it isn't true, then means means they entered something. Now this is correct, except that whatever they have came in as a number, so we need to convert it to, or came in as a string, we need to convert it to a number. I think this logic makes sense. How can we test it? What do you guys think? How can we test this?
Maybe just try updating a product.
Yeah, I'd like to do it with a little breakpoint action in here, do it in debug. So I want you guys to get caught up. I want you guys to also get comfortable using debug. So when you have line 30 set up the way mine is, let me know. Let me know when you're caught up.
Yes.
Good, thank you, Jonas.
I'm caught
Oh
up
man,
too.
Jonas, thank you so much for switching the microphone. That's so much better.
Yeah, it was your help that fixed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Alexandra, did you say you were there too?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, good. Sorry, that's on me. Okay, good. So yeah, let's run it and let's look in here in detail and see how this baby looks. So pull up a debug terminal and start your application. Let's give us a U for update by ID. I'm going to pick number 2. All right, and I am going to not do a price. In fact, I'm just going to enter on all of them. I'm not going to change any of them. Okay, good. So here I am. Let's see. Roll over your result.price. That's an empty quote. Now roll over your current product.price. Oh, that's a problem. Why does it say undefined? Is there something wrong? I may have messed up my db.text. What do you guys have for current product.price?
I have 0.
What do you have, Jonas?
Yeah, 0.
Let me look at db.text. I don't have a product number 2. That's on me. I'm an idiot. I broke something. Price 0, SKU 0, name. Oh, it
No,
did
no, no.
rewrite. It rewrote it.
This is I
Oh,
was
look at that. And it's all
experimenting.
messed up.
I was experimenting with the entries.
Oh, here's dbcopy.text. I'm going to start. Everybody stop running and reset your db.text. I didn't think about that. We should always check your data. Okay, so now we reset back to the DB. I'm glad we made that DB copy thing. We can always restore our data. So now when we run it, go ahead and run in debug. JavaScript debug terminal. Prompt operation update. ID number 2. So yeah, it's a sofa, 5 of them, velvet sofa, 8 foot. All right, now. So its ID is 2. Let's just hit enter on all these data points. And now you should be getting the current product.price as $1,000. Is that what you guys have as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, so I think the logic here will work because look, we're checking inside the parentheses, is result dot price equal to an empty string? Now, the single double quotes might piss it off. I don't know. We'll just see. We'll know by putting a breakpoint here on line 40, because I don't think we can step through inside here. We might be able to. Let's hit step over. Oh, it does work. What do we have for price? Product. Yeah, we have to wait until we fully create the product object before we can look at its properties. So just hit continue. So we go down to this breakpoint. Now, what does product look like? Look at that price. It worked. Because we didn't enter anything for price, it grabbed the $1,000 that we had and used that as the value. Now, yes, it screwed everything else up, but we hadn't built that ternary operator logic yet. Any questions about what we built there or why it works the way it does? All right, then I want you to stop the application and change the other product property creation lines right here so they have the same sort of logic. All right, let me know when you guys are done.
I'm done.
Okay. Check something real quick. Yeah, you'll have to restore your data. Because even though we stopped the execution, it continues and overwrites. How you doing, Jonas? You coming along?
Yes.
Let me know when you're
Catching
done.
up. Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and try yours, Alexandra? Go ahead and let me know if it's working.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like it's working.
Excellent. Excellent. What does your resultant db.txt file look like after the edit? Is it pretty cleanly formatted? Like, can you run it again and do a get all and see the details, the newly updated details?
Yeah.
Good job.
Sorry, I don't type fast. That's
Oh,
why.
it's fine, Jonas. Don't worry about it. Timing is perfect on this because I'm just about to describe to you what your homework is going to be. And it's beefy enough that it might take you a week and a half in your spare time. Because Jonas, I don't know if you heard me about this earlier. I'm going to be taking vacation next week, so we won't have class next week.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. All right, you go and try yours, Jonas. See if